Welcome to African Canadian Voice ACV. Today we're going to talk to Gal Harper. Gal Harper is a musician and activist, and I'll be talking to him about his activism and music and how he fuses them together in terms of reaching out to a lot of people. Welcome to our show, Gal. I really thank you for giving us time to discuss with you. You are a busy man. You have so many hats to wear and so many things to juggle. ACV, African Canadian Voice, is very thankful for giving us the time to come and talk to us. Let me go straight to my question. And a lot of people know you really well, but for the sake of our audience, if you give us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and things like that.
I grew up in Sudbury, Ontario. It's about 7 hours north of London here. It wasn't as diverse when I grew up there as it is now. But yeah, I grew up there, and then when I was about 19, 20, in 2009, I came here to London, and I've been here for just over a decade now. But yeah, growing up in Sudbury, it's a very different environment than it is here for sure.
Yeah, it must be quite different from London, right?
Yes, it was. There's definitely a lot more color in London. Definitely, it's high contrast for sure.
You're an entrepreneur, musician, activist, and how do you balance all these things? They require a lot of commitment and time. And although our main talk today is in terms of your musical output, and but how do you balance all these things?
As far as the music, it's not really something that has required much time for me to this point. The main focus of my music has been expressing things that have happened to me and my experiences in my life. So when it comes to writing my music, when I do write, it comes fairly naturally. It's really just it's like writing in a journal for me. You know, it's just expressing myself. And I'm not really as active in the music scene as I'd like to be at the moment. You know, I haven't written much over the last few years, and I've only recently gotten back into it. But yeah, as far as my business, my family life, my activism, it's all just kind of it's easy to find time for things that you're passionate about. And you know, running my own business is something that I wanted to do my whole life. So you know, being an entrepreneur is something that kind of comes naturally to me in that sense. And then as far as activism, there's nothing that I'm more passionate about than you know, human rights for all. It's something that I feel like everyone should be actively engaged in, and we should do, you know, as a society. So when it comes time to work as far as activism, I'm just kind of getting off the ground right now, just trying to figure out where I can contribute and what avenues I can explore to bring about change in my community and beyond. So
when did this whole thing of activism started to click in, and then the momentum, the energy, the motive started? Was it early on, or was there any a unique experience that triggered that?
well, that's a good question. Growing up in Sudbury, not the most diverse of environments, I experienced a lot of you know, racial profiling, just a lot of different things that kind of changed my outlook on the world and society, and kind of left me with a lot of questions on why things were the way they were. And I never really had any answers to the questions that I was asking, you know, on why things were the way they were and why they hadn't been changed yet. You know, you read all these, you read the history, which I had to learn for myself. I had to learn the history of civil rights and all that stuff on my own, because it's not covered as extensively as I believe it should be. But you know, you learn about the civil rights movements and all this stuff, and you're like, well, things aren't done yet. You know, like the work hasn't been finished. Things aren't equal yet. So, and I'm still experiencing things that people were marching against and fighting against decades before my time. So it kind of leaves you in a place where it's like, well, who's going to do the work now? You know, and I think for me, I've always been vocal about injustice, whether it's for the Black community or indigenous issues. It's something that I've always been passionate about, and when I see an injustice, I speak out on it. But it's really until recently, it's only been in my own social circles and on social media. I'll see a video or I'll read an article, and it makes me upset. So I'll share my perspective on it, and I'll I'll open dialogue online with people in my community, and we'll discuss it. And I'll talk about, a lot of people, they just don't know, they're not informed enough to know what's happening. So I try and reach out and show them, well, this is what I see, and this is where things could change. And so I've been kind of vocal online, and recently I had a realization. It was really sparked by the George Floyd incident. It kind of it just hit me harder than the rest, and I can't really explain why. It wasn't because of the public attention to it, because when I saw the video, it hadn't really blown up to the extent that it has now. But it was the last straw for me, and it was like, where do we go next to start making these changes? Because posting these videos and writing blog spots on it, it's not doing enough, right? So the awareness wasn't the main issue. It's the systemic changes that need to come about. So I just started reaching out to community members and trying to figure out where we could start doing the work, where we could start implementing the changes, and how we go about that. So I've just been trying to get involved in everything I can, and try and be a part of the change I want to see.
We've been talking to Gal Harper, and we're going to take a little break. Welcome back, ACV, African Canadian Voice. Will continue talking to Gal Harper. How do you see your music in terms of playing a role and canalizing all the energy and understanding into that future-oriented change?
With music's got the power to carry messages beyond what an article or a news clipping can, right? And I've seen that firsthand with my own music when I've written a song that's politically charged, or it's got content that I see as words that need to be shared. It reaches far beyond what any of my posts or shared videos will, right? People I guess it expresses the emotion behind the message a lot more powerfully than simple words on paper can express. So I figure if I use my music as a vessel to spread my message and my plea for change, more people will hear it. And with awareness and education being, to me, the fundamental, the most fundamental aspect of bringing about change, I think that the importance of kind of sharing messages and education, information, stuff like that, if I can use music to spread that as far and wide as possible, there'll be more people looking to get on board and looking to help bring these changes.
Yeah, that's excellent, because the written word can only be read, but you can listen to music everywhere while driving, doing anything you do, and you can repeat it several times. And the power it has in terms of changing the society is so powerful. In terms of changing the political landscape is very powerful. And is there any music you can share with us that our audience could have a chance to have a taste of how music in terms of the social change you expect?
When I first started writing music, I used it as more of it was like writing in a journal for me. It was therapeutic. I'd write about my struggles, my pain, the things that had me emotional, right? And I kind of got away from that for a little bit, and I started writing more about you know, as life improved for me, after I moved here, I started writing more about the good things going on in my life, but I lost that desire to share the pain, right? Um, and I think recently, um, you know, I wrote my most recent song, "I'm Still Breathing," and that was right after the George Floyd incident, right after I saw the video for that. It was about a day or two later, and I was supposed to be working in my office, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. You know, the video just kept replaying in my mind, and the reason those videos hit me so hard is, I've had my own interactions with police officers, where I was treated unjustly, and you know, I've had my own things that if they were on videotape, they may have gone around and made the rounds on the internet as well, right? So I know what it's like to be mistreated by police officers, and I could just see myself being in that scenario. You know, I can see where some of these videos where it's literally a traffic stop and the guy ends up dead. Um, I've been in those traffic stops where it's over absolutely nothing, and I've been harassed and hounded by the police, and they ask me a million questions, just trying to catch me doing something that I'm not doing, or not supposed to be doing. And so, you know, just I think seeing that, it just kind of hit me on an emotional level, and I decided, you know, I'll throw on an instrumental and I'll try and write something. And it took me about 4 hours, and I had the song ready to record, so I recorded it sitting at my computer, and I shared it, and people responded to it. You know, they they felt the emotion behind it, and all I was doing was pouring my heart out. And I think that if I continue to do that, you know, I've been writing since then, and I've got more songs that I'm working on right now that I plan to record in the near future and put together. And I think if I just continue to share my experiences and you know, little things that I can think of for creating change, add those into the songs, and hopefully people they'll be touched by the emotion, and you know, just the raw power of me expressing myself and pouring out my heart, and then in that they'll take away, what can I do to help people that are going through this.
Activism and music married together, although they look like two separate things, but the music gives you the power to extend far and beyond in terms of your reach. Eh? And what was the kind of reception you were getting with that kind of amalgam or?
Yeah, so I mean, really, that is why I want to make the music I want to make. I had a conversation with my sister years back where, um, you know, I had written a song, and in the song I had a line, something about, you know, when I make it, right? And there's this whole thing in the music industry, especially in the hip hop genre, where, you know, it's all about making it big, right? And it's like, really, she got me to reflect on what that actually meant. What is making it to me, right? Because I've expressed in my lyrics before that it's not about the fame or the money for me. That's not why I make my music. And so she's like, you know, what is making it to you? Like, don't forget that what you're doing is sharing. You're sharing a message, and if people are hearing it, you've already made it. And that really hit me hard, because it's something that I hadn't really thought about. You know, I don't have any desire to be the best rapper in the game, or even play the game for that matter. I just want people to hear what I have to say, and if it creates some change, then that's my ultimate goal, right? So I've already made it as far as I'm concerned. People are hearing, and people have already been reflecting. I've got messages from people that I know personally and strangers where, you know, they tell me that my music's got them to think or to open their eyes to certain injustices that they'd never considered before. So to me, that's the goal. Bringing in awareness, and yeah, absolutely, it is married to my activism. Because my music, I'm making music for change. I wanna create something bigger than myself, and I just yeah, I think that
Yeah.
music is the best way to do it.
Success is measured by your own terms, because what do you want out of the work you do? Not only somebody can make millions, but it could be in terms of social effect or change, it could be minimal. So
Mhm.
it's going to be measured by the way you put in terms of how you see success, and including the journey, and including how many people are affected by what you do. And I sense that it's working good, because I've been watching your videos as well. So the monetary aspect is secondary when you are working as an activist. By its very nature, activists are not after money, and but you made it so powerful by your music, right? And
Mhm.
a lot of people are being affected by it. And is there any other works you wanted to do to expand that reach?
I have two main things that I've been focusing on recently, and just trying to figure out how to make this happen. So the first one, um, I talked to my wife. She's a teacher, and I talked to her a few years ago about um, trying to get into the schools for Black History Month, and because I remember when I was growing up, there's barely any Black history taught. Right? They say it's you hear the arguments all the time. Why do you need a Black History Month? It's like, well, we really don't want one. We just want Black history to be taught. So put it in the curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when I was growing up, I had to teach myself everything related to Black history. There wasn't anything taught, and aside from posters hanging on the wall in February for a couple days in some schools, there isn't much taught in the way of Black history. And the history that they do teach, it's we'll cover the Underground Railroad, condensed version of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Harriet Tubman, right? And it's like, you know, they treat it as if slavery stopped at the border. Well, it's a Canadian problem too. There's 200 years of history there that we don't talk about, right? And we need to, so that people understand the world you live in and how it came to be and what people of color deal with on a daily basis. So I wanted to be in the schools during Black History Month, teaching actual Black history and covering it in more detail, and just volunteering my time to educate the youth on what Black history is and what it looks like in Canada. Um, and then beyond that, hopefully I don't have to do that anymore because it becomes part of the curriculum. But beyond that, I was really inspired by Colin Kaepernick starting his Know Your Rights campaign, where he goes and he holds camps for um, disenfranchised and marginalized youth, where he teaches them to know their rights and how to behave and how to handle themselves if they ever encounter police, right? And I'd like to do a version of that that's localized to London and specific to our municipality and our laws, because we obviously have different laws. So I'd like to work on a campaign where it's teaching Black youth how to handle interaction with police, Indigenous youth, anyone who is affected by police brutality and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, because the approach for a change has to be multidimensional: the legal system, the educational system, the economic system, political system, and all things. Because when we say something is systemic, it's all over the place.
I'll put the pieces back together for the last time. And as I pick myself up, they say I'm out of my mind. But when everything you built is lying on the ground, They don't wanna see you on your feet, they just wanna see you down. See you down. See you down. Oh, see you down. Wanna see you down. See you down. See you down. Down, down.
2K14, I'ma get what I came here for. Mr. Nice can't play no more, I'ma be the one that they can't ignore. Politics and misogyny, not a convict, so put it all on me. Rappers all on my warpath, gonna taste my boots like a doormat. Don't care about how your chain hang or the gang ties to your stage name. While you pouring out your champagne, I'm reaching out, trying to change brains. Kids look up to their favorite bands, dream to be just as famous as this generation is fading fast, cause a copycat and your brain is dead. I'm coming in with a big bang, no Chuck Lorre, but I'm up for it. Like a big game, cause I did things and I did change and I still stand. Took $1 and a drink, quit college, better clean out, kick knowledge like I got jig hate. Need a bigger beat, cause some of these 705 is a logo. Flossing all they dolo, they had a cut and that cocoa. Now you locked up, you go bro. But it's time you get street cred, got enough love, so my cheeks red. So before you speak, take a deep breath. Before you go and say things you gon' regret.
I put the pieces back together for the last time. And as I pick myself up, they say I'm out of my mind. But when everything you built is lying on the ground, they don't wanna see you on your feet, they just wanna see you down.
I made so many changes cause I learned from bad decisions. And to learn to mix some dough, I had to have some practice with it. They ask me if it's worth it, I say I'm not mad, I did it. And I know I wasn't perfect, chick the past knew wisdom. I've seen them come, seen them go, still I remain. Enemies are steady the same, but my friends change. I've seen best friends turn to foes, and foes turn into bros. There's no telling from the start, go with your heart I suppose. See, I've been blessed with a gift of realness, feel like I'm destined for millions. And I deserve a viral debut, I'm that dude with the illness. There's no tats upon my back, no area codes on my neck. But once I throw them on the map, they're bound to show me respect. Subway rappers say they can't quiet down, I'm having none of that. These haters trying to stop me, got me feeling like a running back. Once upon a time you ran to town, but now I want it back. Wanna see me down without the crown, boy, good luck with that.
And I'm better now than I was when you saw that 22-year-old undeveloped kid. I'm experienced now, professional. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
They just wanna see you down. See you down. See you down. Oh, see you down. Wanna see you down. See you down. See you down. Down, down.
I hope you enjoyed listening to what Gal Harper has to say in terms of his music and activism, and we will continue this conversation in the next episode.